Plugin of the week is the Audified U78 Saturator. If you're familiar, not that long ago was released a plugin called the U73B, the version 2. And it was an update from the original, updated graphics and some new design components that were added in, oversampling and all the sort. And along with this, with all of the work that went into characterizing the harmonic distortion characteristics and all of the other aspects of it, they decided to release a component version minus the actual limiter compressor unit so that you could work purely on saturation. And so what we have here is the same I/O control, right? So this calibration allows you to calibrate the overall input-output. So this is a way of sort of taking the input and output and adjusting them inversely at the same time, allowing you to adjust the gain and kind of balance them out. There's also an auto gain here, which allows you to take the basic levels here, and if you adjust the input, the output will adjust accordingly as well, right? So you can get an adjustment there on that end. So what this includes is an on-off switch, the calibration, so you could get the basic, once you get the settings that you like, you can sort of set the overall drive level. You have a gain control here, you have an output gain control, and so what you're really getting is a lot of tube saturation. So the U73B, made by Telefunken, going back quite a ways to the 70s and 80s, or 60s and 70s, I'm sorry, through to the 80s. We used a lot on mastering sessions in Europe. It was sort of like their version of the Fairchild limiter over on that end, and so it was used in really amazing sounding emulation. So what you have is our adjustments there, and then you also have a wet-dry mix, which is very cool. So we can set some balance out on that end. You got a high-pass filter and a low-pass filter, so you can kind of work with it that way. And then you also have a tone control that allows you to kind of tilt the harmonic distortion more towards a brighter sound or to a darker sound. And the idea is that you can kind of just drive this whole thing a little bit better. There also are presets, so you can load and store different presets to your liking. And then you also have some features here where you can set oversampling. If you turn that on, then essentially that is sort of the equivalent of internally increasing the sample rate, and effectively what you're doing there is you're also increasing a lot of the CPU usage, so use with some discretion, but that's a good way of making the quality and kind of limiting any of the sort of aliasing that can sometimes happen when you get into distortion components. The aliasing means that the distortion may be happening above your range of hearing, but because of sampling, it ripples down and you hear it at a lower, more audible frequency, and it usually comes in the form of an artifact that makes something sound harsh or hazy or fuzzy on the top end. That's usually like one thing that you can look out for. So what I have here, let me just bypass this for a second. Maybe I'll just turn it off from here. And I'll zoom in here. We'll take a look at it. Alright, so here you could see like that it has like a, so this is 100% wet with overdrive. You notice that they don't move in lockstep because it looks like everything is kind of matched gain-wise, based like if you're driving more gain into it, you're going to saturate it more, and therefore you're going to get, more saturation. Is going to be less output as a result, because obviously it's hitting something that's stopping it from going any further. So what we could do is we could take something here like, and what's cool about stuff like this, when you start, let's just actually go with the tone control and I'll show you the filters. Right, so you can see how that really drives towards the low end. And then we could focus this on particular frequencies here, and so I got like a high pass filter, so I can. Now these components here are not in the original. This is a theoretical device. It doesn't actually exist. So you notice there it switches from off to like 8K. So you can kind of focus this. And then mix in some of it, whatever way you want. So let me drive it a little bit more. All right, so we have like a gain thing here overall, right? So we're pushing more gain. All right, so that is still active on the output stage. All right, so let me do this. So we can hear this. And there's going to be a lot more gain. So that keeps the output at unity, but now we're kind of mixing in how much of the distorted signal we want. And you can hear how it brings like some depth and grit to what we're working on here. Adjusting the overall gain off screen. This just allows it with the filters here to give it a little more character. You know, glean it one way or another. So if I'm looking for more presence in something, I may want to bring out more bright top end energy as a way like, let's just try something completely unrehearsed here. Let's go ahead and I'll just put this on. So I'll bypass this for a second and we'll open up some of the other tracks here. And so Trust who you are. All right, so these guys should be over here. All right. That's who we are. Ain't no stopping. Trust who you are. Ain't no stopping. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm gonna filter off low frequencies. And then I'm going to saturate in some high end, and let's just see. That's who we are. Ain't no stopping. Trust who you are. Ain't no stopping. That's who we are. Ain't no stopping. Trust who you are. I'll stay away from those ultra high frequencies. That's who we are. Oh, maybe let's try it. Ain't no stopping. Trust who you are. Ain't no stopping. That's who we are. Ain't no stopping. And then let's try to. So I'll saturate that top end. You know, let that be like an upper presence. And now let's go back. It's going to sound really dull. That's who we are. Ain't no stopping. Trust who you are. Ain't no stopping. That's who we are. It's like a great way to kind of bring presence into something. Trust who you are. All right, so go back, brought the filter back a little bit. And you see how, like, again, without rehearsing, just kind of putting something in there real quick, how you can bring like some presence energy out of it. So it's not like run it through a guitar amp, like, kind of distortion. It actually has a lot more character to it and finesse to it, and you can hear the quality of it. It's a really, really cool emulation, and a nice addition. For doing all of that work, I can understand why someone would want to have a complementary plugin that would include this and allow you to work with the saturation components. So that's a great one. Another one from Audified. It is the plugin of the week, and it is called the U78 Saturator, based on the U73B compressor limiter by Audified.